Texas Democrats, I want to begin by thanking you. We have been to every part of this state, every single county, as many communities as we can, and you all have been so kind to us, so good to us, so encouraging to us. You've given us so much strength. And I just want you to know that I see you and I feel what you're doing out there. Many of you have labored in the wilderness, not for the 7 or 8 months of this campaign, but for years and sometimes for decades. To my friends in Palo Pinto County, who show up at every event in every other county until we commit to coming to see you in Palo Pinto County, which we'll be at in the next 30 days. You are the spirit of this moment. Absolutely undefeatable, persistent, courageous, and you will work until we win. It is the honor of my lifetime to lead this extraordinary ticket of Democrats, our statewide nominees, who you are about to hear from, these amazing members of Congress and the state legislature, the judges, the justices of the peace. But it will be an even greater honor, with your hard work, with your effort, with your persistence, and yes, with your courage in the face of these attacks, to lead this state as the next governor of the great state of Texas. You county chairs, you precinct chairs, you are the absolute best of us. You are trying to bring this state together right now to focus on the big things that truly unite us. World-class schools, the ability to see a doctor, and ensuring that the best jobs in America are found right here in the state of Texas. And you're the perfect contrast to a governor and a Republican government that only seek to divide us and to distract us from the opportunities before us, from the real challenges that we must confront, and to try to make us stop from seeing their failures in the face of every missed opportunity and every Texan who cries out for their help, for their leadership, for their focus, and for their resources. Greg Abbott is chaos. He is corruption. He is cruelty. And he is incompetence. But he is not Texas, and he is not us. Think about this. The inability to keep the lights on, or the heat running, or the water flowing when the temperature dropped last February, and hundreds of our fellow Texans died, and he allowed pipeline CEOs and energy traders to make billions of dollars while our fellow Texans were suffering and freezing, and then had the audacity to pass the bill on to each and every single one of us with higher utility rates in the form of that Abbott tax that you pay each and every single month. That is not us, nor are we a people that would ever deny women their right to make their own decisions about their own body and their own future. We are not a people who attack teachers, nor do we turn our backs on law enforcement when they beg us not to sign permitless carry into law, which allows almost any Texan to carry a loaded gun publicly without a background check, without any training or any vetting whatsoever. And now, ladies and gentlemen, more cops have been gunned down in this state than in any other. We are not a people that allows those in the custody and care of CPS to sleep in the hallways or on top of the tables or underneath the desks. We don't allow them to be trafficked or raped or to die in our care. More than 100 have lost their lives since the year 2020. Nor do we pursue the parents of transgender children and accuse them of child abuse and try to take their kids from them and turn them over to that failed foster care program. No, ladies and gentlemen, we are none of that. Those are not Texas values. We don't buy into the inflation and the high costs that Greg Abbott is causing right now. $20 billion increase in your property taxes since he took office. Some of the highest utility bills increased in the country so far. And with his stunt on the border, when he shut down all U.S.-Mexico trade for more than a week, the cost of our groceries, what we put on the table, went through the roof. We're not for those border stunts of putting migrants on buses or involuntarily activating 10,000 members of the National Guard with but a week to say goodbye to their families, to their jobs, to their kids. We've now learned that 8 of those Guard members have lost their lives playing a part in his political stunt at a time that we need solutions. And his attack on democracy, making this the toughest state in the nation, bar none, in which to cast a ballot or to register to vote, flies in the face of the service of everyone who's put their lives on the line for this country, defending this very democracy. That is not us. And I hope you agree. We would never show up in Uvalde the day after 19 children were shot and killed and 2 teachers lost their lives trying to protect the lives of those kids and tell that community it could have been worse. That may be Greg Abbott, but that is not Texas, and that is not us. Imagine a governor who, instead of attacking teachers, supports them, pays them enough so they don't have to work a second or a third job just to make ends meet, helps those retired teachers with a cost of living adjustment each and every single year, and listens to them when they say that we've got to cancel the STAR test and replace it with something that actually works. Imagine a governor who will fix the grid by winterizing and weatherizing it, by connecting ERCOT to the national grid, by investing in energy efficiency and lowering your utility bills. Imagine a governor who will work with organized labor in the state of Texas, and on this great jobs plan that the pipe fitters and the plumbers and the electricians and the steel workers have come up with to make sure that we lead the next energy revolution, creating the best high quality, high value, high wage jobs right here in the state of Texas, and making sure that they are union jobs right here in the state of Texas. A governor who will stand with small business owners to make sure that this is the best place to find innovation and ingenuity and talent, and that we don't run these great people off with the culture wars currently being waged by our current governor. A governor who will stand up for women, making sure not only that they have the right to choose, but they are paid every cent that every man is paid for the same work at the same value and the same hours. A governor who fights for veterans who fought for us and fights to end veterans' homelessness and to reduce veteran suicide right here in the state of Texas. A governor who believes in marriage equality and will fight to keep it the law of the land in this state. A governor who's going to work with Senator Johnson and Representative Johnson to expand Medicaid, bring $10 billion more into our communities each year, connect more people with more doctors, stand up some of those hospitals in rural Texas that have been shut down, and in the bargain, lower your property taxes by reducing the burden of indigent care. Imagine a governor who will no longer put people behind bars for a substance that is legal in most of the rest of the country, because we will legalize marijuana in the state of Texas. Imagine a governor who will fight inflation, bring down your property taxes, reduce your utility bills, and make sure that it is affordable to live in the state of Texas. And a governor who's not interested in stunts on the border, but understands that we are a state of immigrants and we should lead the way on immigration solutions that allow people to join their family, to work jobs, to be able to better themselves and better all of us by their very presence in this state. And this, imagine a governor who will fight for those parents and family members in Uvalde, who will fight until they receive justice and transparency and accountability, who will fight until we take the action to stop the next school shooting and these senseless massacres in our communities, universal background checks, red flag laws, safe storage laws. On that much we can all agree. But we can do better than just imagining, because all this is within our power to accomplish. And I want you to remember this. Not only can we do this, we have done this before against much greater odds. That current attack on democracy that you see here in Texas pales in comparison to what the voters of this state faced almost 100 years ago to the day. In 1923, the state legislature made it illegal for black Texans to participate in our elections. And Lawrence Nixon, a black physician from El Paso, Texas, nonetheless took his poll tax receipt to Fire Station number 5 on Texas Avenue in El Paso, presented it to the poll judge, who said, "Dr. Nixon, you know I can't let you vote." And Dr. Nixon replied, "I know you can't, but I've got to try." And he took that fight to the local district court, took it all the way up to the Supreme Court, won 2 signal victories, and 20 years later, and imagine the persistence and the patience and the courage and the strength that took from him, he helped to win the right to vote here in the state of Texas, integrating our elections. And not only did he do that, I guarantee you, he helped to inspire President Lyndon Baines Johnson when he signed the Voting Rights Act of 1965 into law. That came from the state of Texas as well. And then Ann Richards and Barbara Jordan doing everything within their power, literally to let the people in by continuing to expand the franchise. While we look back to veterans with surnames like Navarrete and Lopez, who fought fascism half a world away to defend democracy at home, succeeded by other great Texans who sought to make sure that every single one of us, no matter our ethnicity, our race, or our language, could vote. People like Willie Velasquez and Rosie Castro, who radically expanded the franchise in the 60s and the 70s. And when it comes to choice and abortion, remember this. Prior to 1973, abortion was outlawed just like it is today in the state of Texas. But no one rode to our rescue. No one came here from the outside and saved the day. It was Texas women who got it done. Sarah Weddington from Abilene, Texas. Linda Coffey, who lives in Dallas right now, successfully argued Jane Roe's case before an all-male Supreme Court and won that right to privacy that has been enjoyed for the last half century in Texas and every other state in the Union. And lest I forget, Freddie Haynes mentioned this attack on history and the full, truthful, honest telling of our story, of all of our stories. Well, we've got a hero who stood up against that and overcome as well. Her name is Opal Lee. 95 years old, lives right over here in Fort Worth, Texas, walked all the way from North Texas to Washington, D.C. to make Juneteenth the first federally recognized holiday in more than 3 decades in the United States of America. My fellow Democrats, we are the heirs to their service, to their sacrifice, and to their struggle. And what we do with this inheritance will determine our future and define us in the eyes of our kids forever after. Very few generations are afforded the opportunity to fight for the state of Texas when everything, and I mean everything, that we care about is on the line. We should consider ourselves so lucky. And I'll tell you, the answer to this moment is action. It's knocking on doors, it's registering voters, it's talking to our fellow Texans and bringing them into this democracy. It's thinking about the 7 million who were eligible but did not vote in 2020 and giving them an invitation to participate in the most important election of their lifetimes. These are the very people targeted by Greg Abbott through voter suppression and voter intimidation, but with your work, they will be the margin of victory on the night of November 8th. We're going to bring them in, and we are going to win this election. Last thing I want to tell you, not only is this possible, not only has this been done before, but it is happening right now. I feel it as I travel this state, and I see it in everything that we can measure. More than 78,000 of you have signed up to knock on doors, to meet your fellow Texans, to do the necessary hard work in this brutal heat to win this race. Today, we just learned that we outraised the sitting governor of Texas by $3 million. Thank you for what you're donating to this campaign. That is working as well. And the polls are showing that we have cut Greg Abbott's lead by 10 points over the last 6 months. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to do this. I ask you to keep the faith, keep up the fight, and let's get after it, get out there, and go win this thing. Thank you, Texas Democrats. Les agradezco. Gracias. Thank you. Thank you.